Welcome to the Millionaires mini-series with your hosts Stephanie Keith and Stacy Failing, here to set you up with the most luxurious version of yourself. This podcast is filled with wealthy women vibes and a sneak peek into the millionaires lifestyle. Whether your inner millionaires dreams of taking private jets to deserted islands or you prefer the lighter side of luxury, we have an opportunity for you that is priceless.
Come join us as we share with you all of our juicy money secrets, mindset hacks, and so much more. Money may not buy happiness, but it can provide you with an abundant life beyond your wildest dreams. So turn up the volume, adjust your crown, and get ready to embrace your inner millionairess.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Millionaires Mindset Podcast. All right, so today we are releasing this episode on a Friday instead of Monday, because this is our last day that the doors are open for the Millionaires Mastermind. They close tonight at midnight. So if you've been sitting on it thinking, you know what, this is something I'm interested in, and you want to surround yourself with a group of high-level thinkers that have a solid money mindset and are going to help elevate your mindset so you can bring in limitless abundance, then now is your time to get in, because the doors are closing at midnight. And if you do join, you are going to get a custom subliminal package from yours truly. So you guys know I love subliminals. We're going to talk a little bit about them today, but the power of having a customized subliminal to your specific goals is insane. And I'm going to get into that in just a minute on how that's changed my life. But you will get that for joining the mastermind. So we will put everything at the link in the show notes. And of course, if you have any questions, you can DM me at Law of Attraction Tribe and we can chat. So Stacy and I today wanted to share our favorite manifestation hacks and tools with you guys that just work well, that we do on a regular basis, that we recommend if you haven't tried, that you take a deep dive, because these will be absolutely life-changing. So no surprise, my number one ultimate manifestation hack is subliminals. So I did not know about these in the beginning of my manifestation journey. And I knew what subliminal messaging was because I worked for the biggest beverage company in the world and knew that subliminals are used in advertising for corporations. But once I started looking at it from a manifestation lens, I thought, there's so many shady things that have been done in history and still to this day around subliminal technology. But what if I could leverage this technology in a way that could help me? And at the time, I was really diving into the subconscious mind, and I learned that the subconscious mind was driving my life. And so it kind of helped me realize that although I was consciously affirming all of these things, like I am wealthy, I'm my own boss, I make my own schedule, it wasn't manifesting in my physical reality because I had so many blocks from my childhood around a scarcity mindset. And after childhood, after age 7, the only way to reprogram those beliefs is through repetition. So by chance, I came across a software program that helps me take any affirmations and speed them up and loop them. So in a 1-hour audio, you're getting 900 positive messages. So just imagine if you were to stand in front of your mirror every morning and say 900 affirmations, imagine the difference that would make. Now with subliminals, you're not consciously hearing that. And the reason why I love that is because our conscious mind has a bullshit meter, basically, where if you're sitting there saying, I'm a millionaire, and your bank account has a negative balance, your conscious mind is going to be like, no, you're not. You're lying. This isn't true. And it's going to sort of block that positive affirmation from even coming in. So with the subliminals, I think of it as a back door to your subconscious mind, where it's just going right to your subconscious. And consciously, you're just hearing some very calming, healing music that I put high frequency, high vibrational waves with them. So it's called theta waves. And theta waves are the brain waves that you have right before you fall asleep. And they're also the brain waves that you have in the first 7 years of life that allow your subconscious to absorb all of this information. It makes your subconscious vulnerable, almost like in a hypnotic state, so that it can openly take all of these positive messages. So they're very potent, very powerful. There's also binaural beats, which you can look up all the benefits of those. It's everything from more focus to better sleep. And it's like, I think of it as literally healing my body at the cellular level. So all of that goodness is packaged up in this wonderful subliminal that you can literally listen to while you sleep. So you manifest while you sleep, and you don't have to, it's not doing anything. It's not putting any effort. In fact, the less you try to consciously control things when you're listening to a subliminal, the better. So that's why like I often refer to it as like my lazy girl manifestation hack, because when I'm just not feeling it and I don't want to do all the journaling and everything else, I'll just listen to a subliminal and go about my day, and it completely shifts things. So back to the whole custom subliminal. I started doing custom subliminals for myself about 2.5, 3 years ago. And what has happened in my life in that time is insane. Like if I pull up the sheets that I wrote, all these affirmations for the custom subliminal, it's all happened. So the number one thing that I started with and I affirmed at the top of the list was that I'm a best-selling author. Now, consciously, I was thinking in my lifetime, like someday after I've been doing this for decades, maybe. It happened within a year. And when you look at the statistics of authors and number of copies sold, books on average sell 5,000 copies or less. And like a bestseller is considered like 50,000 copies. That happened within 6 months for me. I truly, it deep in my bones and every atom of my being, I do not think that would have happened if I did not have that subliminal playing every single day that affirmed that I'm a best-selling author and that I sold 50,000 copies worldwide. And 50,000, by the way, was the number in the subliminal, and 50,000 on my royalty statement was the exact number. So, I don't believe in coincidences. So let's just like throw that out the window. So that was the subliminal one for the best-selling author. Then I've also done that for income goals. I've done that for my podcast. I've done that for wanting to be invited on celebrity podcasts and other big podcasts. All of this stuff has happened. I just go through and I could check off every single thing that I put in the custom subliminal, to the point where now every few months I have to make a new custom subliminal because everything has manifested. So that's the power of these things. That is the power of having hundreds, sometimes thousands of messages every single day in your subconscious mind, building up your confidence. And what happens is your subconscious mind takes all that in. And now that that's a big focus, it's going to pick out all of these opportunities that were always right in front of you. They were always there. You just never noticed them. And now your subconscious is noticing them and processing them for the conscious mind. And the stuff manifests so quickly. So Stacey, what's your experience been with subliminals?
Yeah, I was introduced really to this type of a subliminal through you, but I look at it like it's taking your vision board and it's taking your daily journal. I have a daily journal practice that I do. I write down my affirmations, but it's like taking all of that and taking the work out of it to then 1,000 times make it into this thing that you don't even have to pay attention to. It just feeds your brain. And I love it. I listen to them when I fall asleep. You've made me a couple of custom ones. And like you said, you have to continue to create them because you are just kind of checking off every little affirmation on that list. And it's pretty amazing the power that it has. And deeper into like the subconscious and the subliminal messages, I like to compare it to like TV. And now that I've become more aware of how powerful the subconscious mind is, and like the last thing that you think about when you go to sleep is really what you're manifesting in your head. And so I try to eliminate any toxic media like TV. I used to like scary movies, but I'm like, if I'm programming that into my subconscious, what am I really trying to create for myself? And so and my husband is the same way. He's like, we'll watch something and then we'll turn it off because we're like, oh, I don't want my brain to think about that. I mean, so we really like to now feed our minds with what it is that we are trying to achieve. And so the subliminal messages that we are receiving through the app and stuff that you are creating is just so much better for our mind and really helps us to exponentially get us closer to those goals that we have. And it's a no-brainer when you can just put it on in the background, put it on your headphones when you're cleaning the house or have it in the car. It's just like, why not listen to that rather than all the other crap? I mean, you listen to some of these lyrics and some of these songs and it's like, is that what you want your kids listening to? And your subconscious is taking in all of that too. So I just think it's so much more powerful and it goes so much further than just a simple message. It is doing deep work and training your brain, whether you recognize it or not. So why not have the option to give it the true fuel that it needs to be able to grow and go after those goals and dreams that you set for yourself? So I'm a big believer. I love them. And I love I've always liked like the calming, if you've ever used like the Calm app or Gaia or anything like that, and you get the background noise when you go to sleep, it's so relaxing. So you get like a twofold. You get the relaxation and then you get the subliminal message.
Yeah, exactly. I know I did one like that recently in the app, and I didn't even think about this, but people were telling me that they were playing it overnight for their kids. And it was specifically about like self-love, self-worth. And I'm like, that's so great. Like imagine, when we were kids, if we would have had that messaging playing all night long and how much of a difference, it would make in our life. So I want to make more for kids too. Like that's a big goal of mine this year.
Yeah,
So Stacy, what's your favorite manifestation tool?
Like I said, I like journaling. I do that every day, but I really like the practice of visualizations. And when I first got introduced to this, it was actually in college, and like it was probably my first couple years in college, and I took a yoga class for the first time. And at the end of our practice, she walked us through like the whole head to toe, just body awareness. And I couldn't believe how tapped into myself I was, and how I was really able, when she was walking me through every single body part, how I would just literally melt into the floor, that specific body part. And I was like, there's some power to this. And as the years have gone on, I've listened to, people that have done visualizations. I've had apps. I do it as my own like meditation practice, but just being able to put yourself into this state of super awareness of yourself and walking through, like, whether it's body awareness, or for me, I like to just envision where I want to go. So for some of the visualizations I walk through, is just like, close your eyes, imagine yourself in whatever, house or environment or wherever you want to be. And you just put yourself in that space that you really want to become. So it's like seeing yourself and treating yourself as if. And so you walk through these visualizations for manifesting, but then you can also use visualizations for healing too, which is a huge part of being able to manifest. We talk about limiting beliefs. You can literally reprogram your brain using these visualizations to change the way that you think and you believe from your, the learned subconscious that we were taught at a young age. We can visualize us stepping into a different space outside of what our standards are. And I love the broad spectrum of possibilities with visualization. And you can do it in the present moment. You can do it in the future. You can heal from the past. So I think it's a pretty powerful tool. And there's so many different resources out there. So it's just a matter of, finding one that resonates with you. But it helps me to just become more aware of myself, where I am. It allows me to be grounded and present. But then it also gives me that power of, wow, I really can see myself in this space of where I want to be.
Yeah. And what's crazy too is that the subconscious literally does not know the difference between reality and fantasy, which I didn't know that for most of my life, but I have always been a dreamer. Like teachers used to like mark this on my report card because I would just daydream during class. I would have my head in the clouds, but I would be dreaming about all the things that I wanted. And at the time, I didn't even know like anything about visualization or meditation, but I knew though, even as a young child, that if I visualized that I was going to have an A on my paper and I visualized my teacher's handwriting and an A, it would happen. And when I would get really stressed out in school, like especially when we had big projects, I would always tell myself, okay, I'm just going to visualize the outcome and the grade because every time I do that, it happens. And so I don't have to worry anymore. And it would. And I didn't know anything about manifestation at that time. I just knew that it worked. And so I just did it. And now, of course, I'm like, oh my gosh, that was so powerful. And it's funny how kids intuitively know what to do. We're just kind of taught to ignore that as we grow up, but it is incredibly powerful. And we do a lot of the different visualizations in the mastermind. And I noticed during the last round that sometimes if I'm like leading a visualization and then I go back and I listen to it later, I'm like, whoa. Like, I don't remember saying any of that. Like, was that even me? Was I channeling something? But it's like, it's so powerful and your subconscious doesn't know. It doesn't know that that's not your real life. And so it helps you really embody that version of yourself that you want to become. And once you do that, it's like the energetics take over and the path just shows up and it just makes manifesting feel so easy and so natural and so fun. So
Yeah.
I love it.
I'm glad that you said that because when I was a kid, I pretty much made a vision board, but I didn't know that that's what it was until I actually made a vision board for the first time as an adult. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've done this as a kid. And that was something that I always liked. That was one of my favorite projects that we did. And so if you're more of like a hands-on person and you need to see things in the physical, doing a vision board is one way that you can start tapping into, the things that you want. I have my wallpaper on my computer, actually. I update it as often as I feel like I want to, and things change, but I do it at least in the beginning of the year. And I just put up like what my goals are for that year. And I see it every single day. You can, if you do like a paper one, you can put it somewhere where you're going to walk by it all the time. So that's another way that you can do that. But yeah, kids really it was so funny. In third grade, I knew that I wanted to go to Fiji one day. And that's still something that's on my vision board. And it's just like, it's crazy. There's so much power, and it's learning to get tapped back into that power, because when you're kids, it just becomes, it's just this natural thing that then becomes something that we don't tune into anymore. And we lose that ability to really pay attention to the power that we have by just acting as if and saying why not? Why can't I get an A on my paper? It's totally possible. And I'm going to make it happen because I'm going to visualize it actually coming to fruition.
Yeah, it's so funny because when we built our pool, we were at the place and I just walked in. I was like, I want this, this, this. Do you have this? Do you have that? And I'm like showing them pictures of my vision board. And the guy looked at me and he was like, I have done this for 30 years. I have never had someone come in that was so certain of what they wanted. He's like, most people spend all day here trying to figure it out. And I was like, sir, I have been visualizing this since I was 8 years old. Like, I know to a T what I want in my backyard. And I've been dreaming about it since I was a kid. And he just thought that was like so funny. He's like, I've never seen anyone like come in like this and just like know everything they want down to like the tiniest detail. I'm like, well, now you do. And everyone should try it because it happens.
And what a way better shopping experience for everybody. You just made it so easy.
Exactly. And I did that with my house too. I made a Pinterest board specifically for my Florida beach retreat was the name on my board. And I put every detail on there. And same thing when we went to the designer thing. She was like, most couples like get in a fight while they're here because they can't decide. And she's like, you guys like know exactly what you want. And we both, Dustin and I both had our phones out. We're like had all these pictures. And she's like, man, you're prepared. And we're like, oh yeah, we've been dreaming about this for like 5 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, it works. It definitely works. And another tool that I wanted to mention that works so well, but I did not like it in the beginning is tapping. or EFT. It's called emotional freedom technique. And I tried this years ago and I was like, this is so weird and I don't get it. And this is so dumb. And I don't know why it did not resonate with me. But then I kept hearing about it and getting all these signs to try it. So I tried it again with a different facilitator and fell in love with it. And I think maybe, I don't know what happened the first time, but I think it's one of those things where you either love it or you hate it. But if you hate it, don't give up on it because there's definitely something to it. And so basically, just like with acupuncture, there's different energy meridians in the body that store trauma and emotions and things that you might not even realize that you're holding on to. And I didn't know that either. I always thought we stored this stuff in our brain, but it's actually stored in our body. And you can tap on these energy meridians while talking about the limiting beliefs that you have to release them energetically. And then you follow up with affirmations, like new beliefs that you want to put in place of that. And what's so crazy is you write down on a scale of 1 to 10 how you're feeling with that particular belief. And after a 5 or 10-minute tapping, you are usually all the way down to a 1 where it doesn't even bother you anymore. And that is what's so crazy. In such a short amount of time, you completely shift that belief. And you like, I don't know about you, Stacey, but I almost get like that little euphoric feeling afterwards where I feel like I'm on cloud 9 and like everything's great. It must be because of all the different energy meridians that it must like release dopamine or something because it just you feel amazing afterwards. Does that happen to you?
Yeah, and that's so true. And this is something that I just learned recently too, is that our trauma is stored in our body, not in our mind. And in order to release that, and the tension and the limiting beliefs and everything that we are holding on to is stored in our body. So that is such a good way to release that. And then when you pair it with these other techniques that help with the subconscious mind, so you're pairing the mind and body, you're literally healing and being able to manifest because you are now clear from all the shit that is just bottled up in you. That it's like, I like to think of it as just like a deep cleanse. And you feel like a detox just happen when you go through the EFT tapping. And I love how I feel afterwards. And like you said, when you rate it before and after, you might not realize it as you're going through it, but then afterwards you think about it and you're like, wow, actually that was very transformative. And I was the same way. I didn't really like it in the beginning. I thought it was kind of weird and I didn't like having to like tap on myself. But I after I have done it a few times, and I think it's like the messages too are helpful. Like if it's a message that I resonate with, it's more effective. But if it's something that it's not, it's not really speaking to me, I don't enjoy it as much. So I just think you're right. You play around with it. And regardless of what tool or technique you use, I think the key to what we were saying about all of it is just to have fun with it and use it as a tool, and don't force anything that doesn't feel good and aligned with you, but just allow yourself to try it and have fun with it, because rather than forcing it, let it just come with ease. And these are the tools that are going to help you be able to do that. And it's something that you can do. You don't really need anything, right? You can do these things wherever you are, whether you're on vacation, you're in the car, whatever. If you're feeling this energetic nudge to have to release something, try one of these techniques and allow yourself to just be open to the idea and have fun with it.
Yeah. And eventually manifesting just becomes second nature, like, because you're literally training your subconscious, you're reprogramming your mindset to where you won't even need any tools anymore. It just becomes second nature and you don't even have to think about it. But to get to that point, you do have to kind of like work the manifestation muscle. And that's what all these tools help. And they help raise your vibrational frequency and release negative energy and negative beliefs that are blocking you from manifesting certain things. So it's really important. And that's why in the mastermind, I mean, we approach it from all different areas. It's like you have guided visualizations where you're consciously hearing all kinds of prompts to create like new neural pathways. Then we have the subliminals that are working on reprogramming the subconscious. We have a bunch of tapping, which is helping in your body and helping release all that trauma. It's everything from like neuroscience to psychology to quantum physics. We cover all bases because in order to have lasting change and to make it part of your lifestyle and to change your life, you've got to completely reprogram all this stuff that's been holding you back all these years. So it's very intense, it's very immersive, but that's what gives you the transformation. And what's great is you have it for life. You have these tools, you have the replays, you have the community, you have the friendships forever. That never goes away. So that's the power of what's possible when you go all in on something and just say, you know what, I'm done playing small. I'm done being stuck in this situation where every month I look at my bank account and I feel anxiety. I just want to feel freedom. I want to have money flow instead of feeling like I have to force it or trade my time for dollars. And those are all the different things that we work on.
Yeah. And we created this mastermind because everything that we talk about in it, we practice what we preach, and it's science and fact based. We didn't just throw together this mastermind with all of these arbitrary things. These are tactics, tools, techniques, conversations. Everything in there is true, valuable, and it's like packaged. Everything that we talk about is packaged into this one mastermind. So you don't have to go looking in 20 different places for all of these things, because we've done that. And that's why we created this space, is because we've done all the research. We have all that information in there for you, and it's super accessible, and you get that, but then you also get the support and other women who are going through the same thing with you. And so just having that power of everybody in there, having that information in one place, a hub that you can go to and revisit. You get all of the replays, you get access to everything for life. So like Steph says, is you're working those manifestation muscles and you do it and you're feeling super good in the 6 weeks. And then maybe you get off track afterwards. You know what? We all do that sometimes, but you have this as something that you can always go back to as a resource. So it's never, it's there. You don't ever have to really go anywhere else to look for it. You just have to know that if you want to do the work, we've provided everything that you need in this little package.
Yeah. We say work, but it's fun. It's fun. We've got that disco ball energy component. That's what I call it. And it's a good time, but yeah, it is. It's like completely transforming things and letting go of the things that have hurt you in the past or kept you small, because we're not here to play small and to settle for mediocre. We're here to manifest the best life we possibly can, because we're all worthy and deserving of it. So if that feels aligned, get in by midnight before the doors close, and I will create the custom subliminal package for you so you can start manifesting immediately all of your goals. You can get to work on that while you sleep and just let the universe do the heavy lifting for you.
Yeah. And what that'll look like is, as soon as you sign up and we get that, we will reach out to you and kind of ask you some questions to get a feel for what it is that you're trying to manifest. And we'll put that all together for you so that it's yours exclusively and tailored to your specific goals. So be on the lookout for that too. As soon as you sign up, like I said, we'll send a message to you so that we can create that for you, and you can get started before we even get started in the mastermind.
So we hope to have you inside. I can't wait for this round. It's going to be so high vibes, so much fun, and we hope to see you there. Everything will be linked in the show notes for you. And thanks for tuning in, you guys. We'll see you next time.